Hello and welcome to Kedrick Farms. We're back with another episode of Farmville, North Carolina, and we're going to be picking up on our planting season here right where we left off, mostly because I wanted to make sure you guys didn't miss anything. I'm really curious to see how the fertilizer goes as we're planting the corn here, and what's really interesting is this field compared to the other field, you can actually see that we've got a planting texture on it. This is fascinating. When we planted that other field, I felt like it was just the regular farm sim seeding texture. But this one is a unique planting texture. Now, I wonder if that's because it's in a different state of tillage and it just didn't update that other field because it was in a mulched state, maybe? I don't know. But this is fascinating. I wasn't expecting this at all. I'm really happy to see the updated ground textures on this map, but man, given that we already planted a field, this is a pretty big surprise for me. Now I'm kind of wondering if we actually planted that other field or not, and I'm seeing our corn seed go down super slowly, so for a minute there I was kind of wondering if we even were planting corn, but we are definitely planting corn. I had to come into the map here just to make sure we do actually have corn planted in that other field here, and it is in that first growth stage, which is planted pretty much, so I have no explanations other than how strange. Either way, this field should go pretty quick. We're going to take a headland pass all the way around the outside because we do have some curved edges around this field a little bit. So I think it's going to be easiest just to get at least one row all the way around the outside of this field. And then we will do a more traditional headland pass here on either end of the long rows and get going on the up and down. I'm not too worried about it. This field is going to go really quick for us here. And we're definitely using a little bit less fertilizer on this field than the other one. The slurry has definitely helped, and I'm really excited because it means hopefully we're not going to have to buy any more fertilizer. I have, honestly, I'm a little concerned about it. I was wondering if we were going to have to, despite my high-level calculations, but I think we're going to be fine now. And our corn seed seems to be going just fine here so far, so I'm not too worried about that running out here either. I think that our calculations on that were actually accurate using the, I forget what it's called now, the field calculator mod. I am really excited, though, to get through the planting season here, as that's going to wrap up a good chunk of what we have to do on the farm here until harvest again in the fall. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of taking care of the animals here in the middle, I think. We'll see, mostly just worrying about feed, although come to think of it, we've given them all of the feed that we've got available in the feed mill, so really there's not a lot left to do. We will have to spray at some point for weeds, most likely, depending on the field here, maybe. I'm not really sure what state this field was in from a plowing perspective, but I know we just did the VT over in the other tool, which is not the deep tillage. If we'd plowed, I think that you actually prevent the weeds from really getting a start in Farm Sim here, but seeing as we didn't do any kind of a deep tillage like that, I think we are going to have to do some spraying, but that's all right. We've got the nice shiny new Patriot sprayer up at the co-op that we're going to be able to use here to spray our fields, which should be a lot of fun to try that mod out as well. And then as long as we're here, I think what we're going to do, I'm just going to spin around real quick here, and we're just going to take this same track back. Some nice curved rows there, probably something I should try and avoid, but I just want to get this little bit of a short row knocked out here so that we can go up the longer side along the shed there and start getting a GPS track set off. It's looking like that might be a little bit hard to do, to be honest. Let's see here. Yeah, what we're gonna do, we're just gonna come right back into this row. We'll have some more crooked rows here. I'm going to just square this off, and we will get going on the long rows here as soon as we get up by the shed. We'll scoot over here a few rows and just figure that out. And of course, I'm not even thinking straight here. We've already got a pass up behind this shed. I should have tried to take as much of this off as possible. I don't know. I was trying to line this line up right here with the edge of the shed rather than just driving up there. My goodness. We still don't have quite enough weight. I realized after I said it last episode, I actually do have front weights on this tractor, but it's just not quite enough for this planter. We do have a little bit of steering problems when it's raised up. So at some point here, we probably just need to think about getting a little bit bigger tractor if we're going to run one primary tractor to do most of the jobs on the farm here. We're going to go ahead and split this, run the right 8 rows as we come down here, get our GPS track all up and running, and that will set us up to start working on those long rows. I'll probably actually finish the short rows to my left here real quick before we get going on those, just to be done with it, and then we'll get going across the rest of this field here. All right, we are checking back in. I switched to the other end of the field here and knocked out the short rows. If I'm being honest, it's so I could get a better screenshot for the thumbnail, which you will have seen by now if you're watching this video. But sometimes it's the little things like that where it's like, well, the sun is shining from this side, so I had to get a screenshot with the ground texture here on the other side, since I think that's going to be our thumbnail today. I really enjoy trying to figure out what we're going to do to promote the video when we're in the middle of the episode. I don't normally think about it too much ahead of time. I like to run my series as kind of just play and see what happens and see what's interesting in a given episode and call that out in our title and our thumbnail. But as always, hopefully you are enjoying today's video. If you are, hit that like button for me. It helps out a lot. And drop a comment down below if there's anything you'd like to see us try and accomplish in this series. Like I said, we're about to finish up most of the work here on our own farm, but we might go off and do some contracts here over the summer just because there's not a whole lot going on the farm, and it seems a shame to skip through an entire year just because we don't have a lot going on at the moment. I'd much rather give some contracts a try, maybe try out some new equipment while we're doing it, dig our way out of the massive amounts of debt that we find ourselves in already, and just have a little bit of fun on this map. There's a lot of smaller fields, so we can go knock out a few jobs without spending a lot of time doing it, which I think is one of the things that I've been having so much fun with on this particular map. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I was having some random thoughts about, as the hog farm expands here, we could also put another hog enclosure up here on the end of this field. We've got enough space. It would cut into our land a little bit, but we do have a pretty good setup here where we could run 2 of these hog enclosures if we wanted to really go crazy with it. But we'd have to definitely buy some more fields if we were going to do that, and quite honestly, I think that hog enclosure was pretty expensive. So we would have to make quite a bit of money before we took on a project like that. That would be kind of a fun goal for us, though, is to have enough hogs to fill that thing up. I can't see it in here, but if I recall correctly, in fact, let's just turn off the GPS here real quick, hire out a helper, and we'll run back over here and take a look. If we look on this menu, you can see, yeah, we got room for 2,400 hogs, so that's a lot of hogs. Now, the hogs are going to start doubling up here as we go, so it's not going to take that long to get there. Maybe a couple of years at the reproduction rate, but the more hogs we get, the faster we get there, and so it's just going to become a matter of, are we going to need some of that money to start selling off the hogs and trying to make a little bit, or are we going to hang on to as many as possible and try to get to that maximum amount before we start selling them off? So it looks like we've only got this last round left. We have a little bit of liquid fertilizer back up in the yard that we could put into the planter here. But just watching how it's going down here, honestly, I don't think we're going to need it. I think we're going to be able to finish out this field without putting any of that extra liquid fertilizer in there. And so I think we're going to take the chance. We've been going halfway down this field and we've used 1% of the tank here. Not too worried about it at all. We do have a little bit different soils here as we go through, and so some parts of it, like where we're at now, seem to be using up the fertilizer just a bit faster. But regardless, I think we're good, which is exciting times. We are going to take all of the leftover products out of the planter when we're done today, though, I think, and store them because we might end up using some of the seed in the greenhouse to try and maximize the production of a couple of additional crops throughout the year there. I'm really curious to see, with just the water going into it and all of the crops producing now and auto selling, how much money we start making in a given day off of those productions. We haven't ticked any time forward yet, but you can see here that we've got all of the different productions set up here and activated, and we are full up on water here. You can see the bushels starting to tick up for a few of the different ones that must grow a little bit faster. No soybeans yet, but we're getting there on all of the other things. And who knows, maybe soybeans just already sold some, but I doubt it. I think you got to get to a pallet size before it sells, which is about 500 bushel. Or not 500 bushel, it's 500 liters. I don't know how many bushels that is. It's interesting. This is pieces. There is no bushels here. Oh, no, there is bushels for the corn and beans. I don't know how the corn and beans actually output out of that greenhouse. If they'd come out on a pallet as well. Interesting. Things that I would be kind of curious to know. But either way, we're all done here, so I think we are going to fold this up and just drive up here onto the road and take our driveway back down up into the yard rather than driving across the field with the planter. And we might actually check the road behind us for a change to make sure that there's no vehicles coming before we pull out this time. We wouldn't need to see any unnecessary bloopers at the end of the episode now. Now, I think what I'm going to do is to consolidate tanks. I'm going to pull up here alongside, and we're going to pull this liquid fertilizer into the planter, and then we're going to exit everything out of it so that it's just one container, not two, that we have to deal with. And as always, we might as well wash our equipment up here. Everything's looking a little bit dirty here. I thought I had a mod installed on here which made the power washing go a little bit faster, but apparently not. And just like that, everything's nice and shiny clean. So we might as well try and back this into the shed here, get it back into our corner. Now I've got that other tractor kind of in the way. We're going to see if we can just maneuver around it here, though. I'm too lazy to hop out and move that out of the way at the moment. Now, if I was really looking for a challenge, I would try and do this all from in-cab, but let's be honest, I'm not looking for the challenge. And since the mirrors on most of the equipment in the game are not really set up to be super useful, it would be even more challenging than I think necessary. Oops, we didn't actually disconnect it. I forgot you have to do all of that from inside, or outside, I mean. And you know what? I don't think we need to have that tractor anywhere, so I'm just going to leave it there. And we are going to stack this stuff up inside here. Now, the one thing that we should probably do is get a skid loader of some kind with a pallet fork on it so that we can do this realistically. But if you've been a fan of the channel for any length of time, you'll know that I'm just absolutely terrible at using pallet forks in Farm Sim. The combination of my poor skills for whatever reason on the computer and farm sim physics do not typically lend themselves to a productive environment when it comes to moving stuff around. Now, it might be entertaining. There's usually lots of bloopers, but it's usually quite frustrating on my end, and so I've been avoiding it. However, I think pallets have gotten a little bit easier to work with in FS22 is what I've been told. So maybe we need to give it another shot. I know there's some great skid loader mods out there. And so I'm always looking for some great mods to try out and kind of mix things up when I get the chance. But I think for now, we're going to call that a wrap. Today has been a super short episode, but I'm just trying to knock out our planting and get moved into the next stage of the year here, which is really going to be knocking out some contracts, I think, next. And so let me know what you guys would like to see. We've got fertilizing contracts. We could go and plant some sorghum. I don't have a seeder right now, but I'm sure we could find a really cool mod for that. And then there's some mowing and baling type jobs. We could try out the Vermeer pack. That might be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll buy some haying equipment. I'm loath to buy stuff or lease even for a $6,000 payout, but we could get into a custom haying operation on the side. That would make more sense if we had some use for it on our own farm, some cows or something, some dairy even. But right now we don't. And so I'm just kind of hesitant to get into all that. Maybe if we see a contract that uses some of the new DLC content, we'll jump on that. However, I think for today, we're going to run this one pallet of lettuce up to the store, get that just taken care of here while I'm thinking about it, and we'll check back in next episode to see the hogs continue to progress and jump into some contract work here over the summer on Farmville, North Carolina. That's all for today. Kedrick out. Oh my goodness, we forgot to put it down. There we go. I got this nice wide dual. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Well, that's one way to line up for the sell point.